So let's take a look at the next question. So if you take a look, the first question doesn't involve any identities at all. This is sort of solving still a basic trigonometric equations. Okay, so let's take a look at the second one, question B. So do take note, we have a correction there. Please refer to your book. And for this question, we are given 5 sine square x is equal to 2 times 1 plus cos x. And the limit is still the same as previously, as mentioned in the question. Our limit is x is from 0 degree to 360 degrees. Before we refer to limit and before we start solving, we need to make sure all the trigonometric functions used in the question is the same, because we cannot simplify, we cannot solve if they are not the same. So how do we change? The tips is to make it into this one. Okay, if we have cos x here, so we need to change sine square x. Okay, how do we change? This is what we need to use. We need to use our identity. So we have the first identity, which is sine square x plus cos square x is equal to 1. So that is what we are going to use, and just substitute it into that one. We need to have sine square x as a subject, so 1 minus cos square x. So I will have here 5 times 1 minus cos square x is equal to 2 times 1 plus cos x. Do not change the right hand side. Let's just copy it exactly as given. So let's just expand the bracket. We will have 5 minus 5 cos square x equals to 2 plus 2 cos x. And let's just rearrange everything so that I have the positive cos square x. And I'll just move everything to my right hand side. That will give me 5 cos square x plus 2 cos x minus 3 is equal to 0. Up to this point, let's take a look and let's think. What is this? We have a quadratic equation like the one we normally see. But if you cannot see, let's just use let u or let cos x be any letter except x. Do not use x here. So once I let u is equal to cos x, that gives me a new form, which is 5u squared plus 2u minus 3 equals to 0. And this is exactly what we have, a quadratic equation. How do we factorize this one? We will just use the calculator, or you can do this manually, and you will have 5x minus 3, oh sorry, my bad, 5u minus 3 times u plus 1, and that will give us 5u squared plus 2u minus 3 if we just expand those two factors, and everything must be equal to 0, and that gives us u is actually 3 over 5, or u is negative 1. So do recall, what is our u? We have u is equal to cos x. Just resubstitute everything back and you'll have cos x is 3 over 5, or cos x is equal to negative 1. So here again, we are going to have two different parts of solution. For the first part, what do? We just need to take note, our limit. We don't have to rewrite it there. You can also write it, but I won't, so that I can save some space. What we are going to do now, we can just skip the first step because our angle given in the equation is the same as the one in the limit. So now second step, we need to find our reference angle, which is alpha. So alpha is equal to arc cos of 3 over 5, and we just need to use the calculator. And I have alpha is actually equal to 53.13 degrees. And by checking this one, we know cos x will give us a positive value, and that means it will be in the first and the fourth quadrant. Okay, so that is my quadrant And let's just label our alpha there. Now what we need to do is we need to list all our possible x. So x will be equal to, in the first quadrant we are going to take exactly the value of alpha, which is 53.13 degrees. And for the second angle we are going to have 360 degrees minus our alpha, which is 53.13 degrees. Let's just calculate that one. And we will have 53.13 as well as 306.87 degrees. Are we done? Is that the final answer? No, don't forget we have the second part. So for the second part, what do we use to solve this one? We can just use our graph because we have cos x is equal to -1. So what we need to do is just draw our graph. So this is my x, this is my cos x. And again, graph for cos x will start at the value 1, going downwards and then go back upwards. And it will stop at 360 degrees. Okay. So the maximum value is 1, the minimum value is -1. So let's just label our graph. And I need to find the value of x where cos x will give me -1. So this is where -1 is. And I know my x will be 180 degrees. So x is equal to 180 degrees only. Is that the final answer? No, don't forget to combine everything and write it as final answer. X is equal to 53.13 degrees, 180 degrees, as well as 306.87 degrees. Okay, so that is how you write up your solution. Now let's take a look at question C. What is the difference from this for this question compared to the previous two? So again, our limit here is x is from 0 to 360 degrees. What you have to do first, again, let's change this using the definition for secant x into the basic trigonometric function. And we know secant x is actually 1 over cos x. So let's just change it here and I will have 3 over cos x equals to 4 cos x. What do I do now? Let's just multiply everything by cos x and that will give me 3 is equal to 4 cos square x. How do I solve this one? Because 4 is just a constant, let's just move it to the left hand side and I will have cos square x is 3 over 4. Then how do we solve? Please take note because we have cos square x, that is practically cos x times cos x and we can just use the square root. So we will have cos x is equal to plus minus square root of 3 over 4. Or you can just simplify this. The calculator will give you square root 3 over 2. Okay? So how do we proceed? What does cos x is equal to plus minus square root 3 over 2? That means we will have two different cases. The first one is cos x is equal to sec 3 over 2, the positive part. And the second part is cos x is equal to negative sec 3 over 2. We are going to have two different parts for the solution. So let's just do it one by one. Please do not be greedy. Okay. So here, let's just check our limit. Given x, the question also gave us x. So let's just solve it. For the first part, we need to find our reference angle. So alpha is equal to arc cos of square root 3 over 2. And let's just calculate this. You will have alpha is actually 30 degrees. And since we have a positive value for cos here, that means it will be in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. Let's just draw our quadrant here. Okay, so next is to list all my angles. So x is actually equal to, the first angle will be 30 degrees. The second angle will be 360 minus 30 degrees. That is 330 degrees. So now let's take a look at the second part. Do I need to find my reference angle again? You can just write the same thing, because what did I mean by the same thing? Because if we take alpha is equal to arc cos of absolute value of negative sec 3/2, you are going to get the same value as what we have for the first part. My alpha is still 30 degrees, but the difference is now I have cos x will give me a negative value. That means it will be in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. Let's just draw our quadrant here. This is my angle. Alpha is 30 degrees. Alpha is 30 degrees. So now let's just list my angle x. The first one will be 180 degrees minus 30, and then the second one will be 180 degrees plus 30 degrees. That will give me 150 degrees as well as 210 degrees. So for my final answer, don't forget to combine everything and arrange it in ascending order, and you will have x is actually 30 degrees, 150 degrees, 210 degrees as well as 330 degrees, and that will be our final answer. Those four values are still acceptable because we don't exceed the limit. Okay, so please take note, we have correction here because question 8b and 8e are exactly identical, which is 5 sine square x plus 2 times, equals to 2 times 1 plus cos x. Okay, thank you.